So as Brook develops as a character in the series, it's very funny how his revive fruit powers have been characterized in the series so far, because he is becoming more and more like a weird combination of Moria and Perona, because he, like Perona, can astral project. And the way he does it, it's pretty funny, because much like how when zombies ate salt on Thor Bark and they vomited out the shadows that they were possessed with, Brook vomits out his spirit, and it like is weirdly tethered to the skeleton that is his body as he moves about the world. I also find it pretty funny because he has something in common with a video game character. I've never heard anyone bring this up, but there's a video game called The Binding of Isaac, right? But in that game, there is a character that you can unlock called the Forgotten. The Forgotten, much like Brook, is a skeleton character who too is a decomposed human body. But much like Brook, the Forgotten can also astral project into another character called the Soul. And much like Brook's soul, the soul character is tethered to the skeleton. So I just felt that really funny. I've never heard anybody talk about that. But another funny comparison is that the Forgotten, much like Brook, does use a weapon. In this case, it uses a big bone, making it a kind of swordsman in the game, meaning it's like one of the only swordsmen in the game outside of getting sword items. So I found that a very funny comparison to Brook as well. Now, you should use the bone in your finger to whack that subscribe and that like button if you are enjoying the content so far. Also, if you are able to, please whack that hype button. It's very much appreciated. But moving on. Yeah, it's funny how you have another character in a totally different franchise that is basically the same thing as Brook. But anyway, getting back to One Piece. It's funny, too, that Brook somehow, some way, when he's playing music especially, he can summon this weird stand-like entity that's very similar to Doppelman from Moria's Shadow Fruit. And I'm not sure what that is, but for some reason, this seems to be the height of Brook's capabilities, because when this thing is out, it seems to affect all entities in the surrounding area who are being possessed by a soul that does not belong to them. So I always found that super interesting, that he has one aspect of Perona right down to the passing through living people thing. And then he has another aspect of Moria in which he can summon this exaggerated expression of himself that can do extra things or extend his normal abilities. What's super interesting about him too is that as a revive human, he seems to be more powerful than a soul fruit user and or a soul fruit construct, because even though he's not able to exercise special homies like Napoleon, Zeus, Hera, or Prometheus, it seems as though he's the only person in the world that can hurt them via conventional damage, which is interesting within itself, because that makes me think, especially now in the current arc of Elbaf, like I've said in another video, it could be possible that he could exercise the possession being done by Emu with their weird devil powers, or whatever that's supposed to be, through Dami Reversi. So perhaps, especially seeing as how Brook has been shown to be similar or in the same vein as a Satan character based on the joke that happened during the separation, it's very possible that he could have an ability that could actually beat the possessive properties of Emu's ability. So we'll have to wait and see on that, but it is very interesting. With that being said, give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede Works.